Please give us a brief overview of a process for how anybody can clarify their goals and dreams in life.
Well, dream clarification and getting clear on goals, there's lots of ways to do it. My instinct is to say right now the first step is excavation. Before we can get clarity about where you're headed, you have to get clarity about what's been blocking you, like what's in the way. What are the roadblocks that are preventing you from really seeing clearly where you're headed? In an excavation process, a great thing to do is to write down everything in your life that you think you should do at the top of a list. Like everything that you should do, everything that you should do, everything that you should do. And you're going to break that list down. The first thing you're going to do is cross out anything that you think doesn't belong to you. For instance, I should have 3 children. Do I really want that, or does my mom want me to have 3 children? Something like that. Anything that is not your belief system that you think got kind of put in you, cross out. And then you look at the list again and you evaluate, out of all the shoulds that are there that you think are your own expectations, what do you really want to do? You know, there's a lot of things I think I should do, but do I really want to? Like, really, do I want to? And then you're going to write a separate list of all the things you want to do. And usually that list is a little shorter than the shoulds. Then you're going to look at that list, everything you want to do, and think about each one of those things individually and actually picture in your mind what it would take to achieve those things. And your final list is, what are you willing to do? Because there's a lot of desires that we have, but are we willing to do the work that it takes to achieve them? And so that's your final list. You know, these are the things I'm willing to do. I'm willing to take the steps to achieve this dream or to achieve this goal. And then once you have your willing to list, which is going to be a lot shorter than your shoulds or your wants, then you start formulating action plans. What are the skills or the experience or the support that I need to start achieving these goals? And then we're back to the steps. And then what's the first step I can take? A step that doesn't scare me, you know? Like, for instance, if one of your goals is I'm going to move to a foreign country, your first step wouldn't be, well, I'm going to sell everything tomorrow and leave. Maybe it would be, I'm going to take a trip to a foreign country, or I'm going to have a conversation with someone who lives over there that's from America, something like that. So it's really a step-by-step process. Another step in really clarifying dreams and goals is evaluating if there are any limiting beliefs that may be stopping you from achieving them. If one of your dreams is to perhaps get married and have a family, and you have any insecurity or limiting belief in there that maybe I'm not worthy, or I'm not deserving, or I'm unlovable, or everyone leaves me, any of those limiting beliefs, that can really stop you from manifesting your heart's desire. So it's becoming very honest with yourself and very honest with those belief systems that are in there. There's voices that tell you you can't, and forgiving yourself for having those judgments, and then reframing it and affirming what the new belief that will help you support your goal. Like, I am lovable,
yeah,
I am worthy.
Tell us more about that reframing.
Well, we all have these limiting beliefs that got put in us from circumstances that happen in our life, and especially as children. You know, 50 people can tell us we're amazing. If one kid tells us we stink, we think our whole life that we stink. You know, we remember that one negative thing, and that sticks with us. So it's reframing any of those negative or limiting beliefs or misperceptions by first forgiving ourselves for making the judgments. Like, I forgive myself for judging myself as not lovable. And really getting to the heart of it, really going back and uncovering where that belief came from. You know, we all have to be detectives with our own life story. You know, we have patterns and ways of thinking and ways of being.
Decisions that we've made in the past.
Decisions and instances and experiences. You know, if I have a belief that I'm unlovable, I've got to trace my steps back to see where I made that decision.
Yeah.
Where did I form that belief? Because it's not true. We're all lovable.
And yet that decision, the power of the mind, can keep that decision in place for a very long time. Unless you go back and change it.
Exactly. And I call it, in my coaching practice, I call it a finding the keys process. You know, when you lose your keys, what do? You retrace your steps to go back to find that original place that you put them. And we have to do that a lot with those behavior patterns in our life. It's like, where did this come from? And then we can bring understanding as an adult to that 5-year-old or 8-year-old or 10-year-old who went through that experience.
And sometimes you can't do that by yourself. Sometimes it's necessary to have someone who's qualified in doing that type of work to actually guide a person through that.
Absolutely. This is where counseling or having a coach or any kind of therapy or a spiritual guide comes in handy. Someone to support you in that process.
Okay, good. Why do you encourage young people to fall in love with themselves as a foundation for building a lasting marriage?
Anybody I encourage to fall in love with themselves first, and really to have a loving relationship with yourselves. It's sort of like when you board a plane, and one of the things that they say to you is, when the oxygen masks come down, put it on yourself first before you try to put it on someone else. Same kind of goes for love and relationships. And this is something that I'm learning and cultivating every day in my own marriage. It's like, if I'm not being loving and accepting of myself, I find myself being irritable and judgmental of my husband. It's a total projection. So it really is that constant relationship with ourselves instead of expecting someone else to fill a void in us. And what I see young people doing a lot of times is trying to fulfill any kind of insecurity or ache or pain with someone else's love. If somebody loves me, then maybe I'll be happy. And no one else's love can ever fill a void that is inside of us that is incumbent upon us to fill on our own.
And so we either fulfill that on our own, or we can look also to God for that love.
Definitely. It can be teamwork. I'm all about teamwork with God. I'm all about that.
Very good. Thank you. Tell us why our perception of love and romance is warped, and about the wisdom in searching for one's soul match as a means of experiencing lasting happiness.
Yeah, well, speaking as someone who is a bookworm and read way too many romance novels and watched way too many romantic comedies and movies, I think that's one of the reasons our perception of romance is warped. I mean, the way movies are scripted and TV shows and even books, it's so romantic and it's so kind of far-fetched, and it's so like, running through fields of sunflowers in slow motion, and we kind of think that's what romance is supposed to be like, either this hot and heavy thing or this, I look in your eyes and I see fireworks, and it's warped our sense of what love and true connection is, and put this expectation that we're supposed to meet this person and time stands still and we know they're our soulmate. And I don't believe in one soulmate. I believe that everyone we come in contact with is a soulmate. Everyone that's in our life we're working out some kind of karma with them. They're all our soulmates. There's no accidents in the people in our life. But in terms of building a lasting relationship, it's who is your soul match? Who is going to flow through life with you in a similar way? Who's going to help you strengthen your wonderful qualities that you want to celebrate, and then bring your awareness and help you heal anything that's holding you back. Not that anyone can fix us, but who's going to at least acknowledge that and support us through it.
When I think of love, I often think about the way parents love their children.
Right.
It's a totally sacrificial act.
Yes.
It's a total giving,
yes.
Especially if children are young. Parents don't get a lot back.
Absolutely. I think, though, that the love a parent has for a child is more unconditional than maybe a romantic relationship would be. And I hear a lot of young people especially say, I want someone to unconditionally love me. And I say, that's an unrealistic expectation. Because there's conditions to romantic relationships in terms of, things that don't go in a relationship. We're going to be more accepting with maybe a child than just in romantic relationships. So I think that there has to be a realization that it's a partnership. It's not all romance. Some of it's like, a partnership. Are we really aligned here? Do we really share our values and morals? Can we communicate? That type of thing. What doesn't work for me? What doesn't work for you? What are the deal breakers in this relationship? I think those are important questions to ask.
Very interesting. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for having been our guest. How can our viewers get a hold of your book, 20-Something Manifesto? It's on Amazon and also on my website, ChristineHassler.com. Okay, Christine. Thank you so much for having been our guest today.
Thanks, Brett.
Really appreciate it. You've been watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. You can find us on the internet at www.definingmoment.tv. Thanks for watching and have a great day.